Can you believe that quarter 1 is almost over or is over? I can't believe it. If you're like me, then quarter 1 flew by in a blur. Let me just fill you in a little bit because I feel like quarter 1 of 2025 was a crazy busy business quarter for me. So, right at the top of quarter 1 on January 7th, I launched pre-orders of my very first book, When I Start My Business, I'll Be Happy, that comes out in like 2 weeks on April 15th. I then went to New York like 2 weeks later for 4 days and recorded over 24 recording hours, the audiobook at the publishers, which was just like such an incredible experience. I got to have my team come with me. We went to see a Broadway show. We saw Book of Mormon. It was hysterical. Let me know if you saw it. We went out for Italian food. We got Van Leeuwen's. It was just such an awesome time. 2 weeks after that, I had a $338,000 launch in 4 days. And here's the deal. The launch was actually very easy and very chill and, dare I say, fun. And I definitely had too much coffee, but also in quarter 1, I got out and worked outside of the house a little bit again, which I don't know why I just had accidentally stopped doing, but very much needed to get back to doing. So I thought we'd sit down together today and I would show you how to reflect on the last quarter, whether you're watching this later in the year or right now. Reflect on the last quarter so that you can plan a better next quarter. The quarter that we're about to head into is quarter 2. I think it's important before we rush into quarter 2 that we just take a moment to pause, to breathe, and to reflect on all of what we've done over the past 3 months so that hopefully the next 3 months can be a little bit smoother, more fun, more joy-filled, more creative, whatever it is that you need. We kind of have to figure that out by reflecting and then pull that into your next quarter. So today I'm going to walk you through the exact process that I do in my own multi-7-figure online business to reflect on the last quarter and plan for the next one. I'm even going to take you behind the scenes and walk you through my free annual planner guide that you can get down in the link in the description. And I'm going to fill it in real time with you to show you what my next quarter looks like and how I reflected on my last one. Comment down below and let me know if this is your first time reflecting on a past quarter in your business and planning the next quarter. I want to hear from you. We all have to start somewhere. All right, let's hop in and talk about why reflection matters. Why can't we just skip to the next one and say good riddance with the last quarter and on to the next one? So if we don't stop and reflect, we're just going to rush into the next quarter without actually understanding what worked last quarter and what didn't, but more importantly, why those things worked or didn't work so that we can either do more or less of it in the next quarter. It's also a mistake to miss this opportunity to reflect because it's an opportunity to also look at your data. If you don't stop and look at your data, then you're just making decisions like off the top of your head in your business and zigzagging all over the place, which might be leading to a lack of progress or results in your business. All right, so let's just hop right in and get started and let's learn how to review last quarter and reflect on what's happened so far so that at the end of this episode, we can plan a better next quarter. All right, first things first, we're going to start out by reviewing our wins. So we need to know what wins we had this quarter. If you already have my annual planner guide, then you know when you sat down at the end of last year to plan out the rest of your year, I encourage you and prompt you to plan out goals for the entire year, for the quarter, for every single month. We break it down. So you definitely want to get that guide with a link in the description. It's a totally free annual planner guide that I have created for online business owners. It's actually the exact guide that I use in my own multi-7-figure business to plan my year every single year. So we want to start out by reviewing those wins. And I want you to think a little bit more open-minded about what wins you had. Like, while it's helpful to think about what wins you had just maybe on like financials or certain numbers and metrics, like there also might be some mindset wins or a win of how you showed up for yourself or something brave that you did or a time that you put yourself out there and applied for a really scary podcast. I'm looking at myself like I think I've applied for 100 podcasts in the past quarter that have scared the heck out of me. So those are wins too. I want you to pat yourself on the back for all of the things. The next thing we're going to do is look at what worked in your business. And like I said, more importantly, why that worked. And that's going to force you to look at your data. So when you look at the data, we can, I guess, define what worked by what kind of goals that you had. So if you wanted to grow your email list, did your email list grow? Did your number of subscribers get bigger? Did you sell more of a product? Did you gain more followers on Instagram or more subscribers on YouTube? Whatever it is that your goal was, we can look back and see if the data is actually showing you that your goal worked or the actions that you took towards stepping towards that goal actually worked. One thing that I really like to do, and that I think ultimately leads to a lot of business success over time, is spending a little time understanding the mechanism of why something works, as my mom always said. So my mom would always say, you have to understand the mechanism, Sammy. And so she was a physician, and so she would always be curious, like when someone had a symptom, if something worked to cure that symptom, it's like, why does that work? Because if you can reverse engineer the mechanism, you can often find other things. So I like to do the same thing when it comes to business, because it then makes you start to see patterns like, oh, I see this kind of marketing messaging, for example, that's working. It's not just like, oh, when I post 6 times on YouTube, all of a sudden I get more subscribers. It's like, well, what was it about posting that consistently? Maybe it was actually the content. Maybe you're getting better, right, at creating the videos. Maybe your messaging is landing with the right people. The algorithm is starting to find the right people, whatever. So we want to understand the mechanism so that we can do more of that. And same goes for the next step. We want to also know what did not work this past quarter and why. So what was the mechanism behind that? It might not have worked for you, like something that you tried, right? A strategy didn't work for you, or something didn't work for you, like being on your phone so much didn't work for you, or having so many meetings spread out throughout your week didn't work for you. So it can be both goal-oriented and also just like how things showed up in your business. The last part of reflecting on our quarter is all about rating yourself in different life categories. So I want you to reflect on the past 3 months of your life and kind of give yourself a grade, so to speak, like 0 to 10, how would you rate yourself in some of the following categories? Like work, self-care, movement, connection, community, and joy. Those were just some of the ones that I came up with, but obviously you can add or subtract any other life categories that are meaningful to you. Maybe spirituality, for example. It's not that you necessarily focus on all of these at all times in your life. Like I think that there are seasons where maybe a handful of those categories are something that you focus on more than others, but it does tell you a lot when you look back and reflect, where you're like, oh wow, my joy score is really, really low, but my work score is really high. Like maybe I would like 2 of those things to be a little bit more balanced going into the next quarter. If there are also certain feelings coming up for you of like, you're feeling a little burnt out, or you're not feeling like you've seen many people in your community, like that connection score is really low and the community score is low, that would maybe tell you a little something about why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Okay, let me show you how I put this into action, and let's just go and dive into my own planning and reflection document, and I'll show you how I filled it out for this quarter. Make sure you click the link in the description to get this planner yourself, because you could actually fill it out as we go along. Okay, so when we come to the quarterly reflection and planning document, first we want to start out by reflecting on what some wins were that we had this quarter. And I would encourage you not to make them only wins that are financial wins, but there's also, plenty of room for those too. So one of my biggest wins this quarter was that I launched the pre-order of my debut book. I had a over $338,000 4-day launch. That was fun and pretty easy, which is the most important part. I recorded my audiobook. I brought back my YouTube channel. I had more fun with my podcast on your terms, by the way. I want to add some personal ones in here too. So I had fun with exercise again. I did better with having daily breaks and taking time to breathe or stretch throughout the day. I was consistent in my meditation routine, both AM and PM. I think those are some good ones for right now. That's that. On a scale from 1 to 10, how would I rate myself in these categories throughout this quarter? Okay, so you can take these in many different ways, but you can rank yourself in terms of how you succeeded or just how you felt about it. I would say with work, I'm going to give myself an 8 because I worked really, really hard, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of the boundaries and like rules I have more around working, not so much, not being on my phone. Like I feel, maybe I should even give myself a 7. I feel like I was really bad on my phone this quarter. But you know what? I'm also proud of myself because I'm coming out with my first book. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to say also 8 for self-care, because I feel like I've been doing little things like having my little tea moment in the afternoon or stopping in the park to get some sunshine on my way home before I just jump into work, stuff like that. Movement, I'm going to give myself a 7 because although I'm finding some fun and fitness again, I would say that I definitely put a lot of my movement aside for work I almost said semester, this quarter, and that I don't love. Oh, joy, 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 joy. It's something I think a lot about because I'm like, every week my planner asks, how are we going to add more joy this week? And I'm like, every week I have the same exact response. It's to run in the backyard with Huddy, my dog, more. Like, just take my breaks to like just run around in the backyard with him because it makes him so happy. It makes me happy. I get sunshine and fresh air. I just like run out of ideas after that because I just feel like you fall into the day-to-day life. I don't think I did very good. I'm going to say 4. I don't think I did very well with this. Okay, connection. I did okay with connection this time around because I feel like the book especially has encouraged me to reach out to lots and lots of different people, both people I didn't know, people I haven't spoken to in a long time who I already knew, people I know really well. And also this quarter pushed me to have to ask for a lot of favors. And one of the things I was working on was like not asking for a favor and saying like, I owe you, or like, I need this, but then I'll do this for you, because right now I'm not in a season to immediately give back, right? And I'm also trying to focus on creating connections, like real relationships with other people who own businesses that aren't always tit for tat. It's just like a romantic relationship where it's like sometimes one person needs a little bit more support than the other. And so I would love to create an entire video. If you guys want to see it, you can comment down below and let me know. But like, I would love to create an entire video about what it was like and some of the things I learned in going around and contacting all of the biggest names in the online business industry, probably hundreds of people, of other online business owners, to ask for support or a favor or to be on their podcast or for them to plug the book or to do all this different kind of stuff. And the different reactions I got taught me so much about how some people see business building relationships in online business and what some people are really doing wrong, what was super, super icky to me. Like, it was just really, really interesting. But I'm going to give myself a lot of credit for having reached out. I'm going to do the same for community because I'm just like at the moment feeling super, super supported by everyone being so kind and excited about my first book coming out on April 15th called When I Start My Business. I'll be happy. Okay, so what worked this quarter? What's the mechanism? So here's where we want to talk about like which maybe like systems or processes or even like different marketing strategies are working in your business. I mean, for one, my ads are going really well. My email list building strategies are going really well. So you could fill that kind of stuff out here. I would then encourage you to go through and put in like, what's the mechanism, as my mom would say, why were those things working? Like, our ads are working because we did better retargeting, better audiences. We fixed that, better visuals, like all those kinds of things. So that was a lot of improvement that we're now seeing the numbers on. With email list building, we've had like good social content, this kind of stuff. So like you would go through and put exactly why that's working. In terms of what didn't work this quarter, probably for me personally, I would be answering something like, what didn't work for me was being on my phone so much. And so like why, well, I know why it didn't work. So here I would probably be like, why did I then go to be on my phone all the time? And so, I would go down this rabbit hole, which I know for me is like a lot about being on social, and then it just kind of trickles from there. So, all right, now let's plan this quarter now that we've reflected on the last one. The first thing I want you to do in planning the next quarter is think of what you want more of in your business and in your life. This would be a great opportunity to grab from those categories. Like if you see, for example, like I did, that my joy score was pretty low in quarter one, I want more joy in quarter one, and I'm going to sketch out a couple of ideas as to how I think I could get there. But you could obviously also use this category to create more tactical goals, like I want to grow my email list, like I want more email list subscribers, or I want more downloads on my podcast. And then I want you to sketch out some of the major steps that you're going to take to get there. So what are 3 things that you need to do to get more downloads on your podcast? What are 3 things you need to do to grow your email list, for example? The next thing you're going to do is also think about what you want less of in this upcoming quarter based on how things went last quarter. So again, this could be like, I want less time on my phone. I want less time in meetings. I want more head down work time or something like that. So it could be that. It could be I want to focus less on how many Instagram followers I have, and the kind of complementary goal for this quarter could be that you want more of email list subscribers because you want to focus on something a little bit more long term. From there, I would love for you to create at least 2 concrete goals. So 2 goals for this quarter, very specific, smart goals that are measurable, and that you can actually come up with a very specific goal to say like, I want to add 1,000 subscribers to my email list, because then we can reverse engineer that goal and say, what are 3 things you can do to add 1,000 subscribers to your email list this quarter? Well, one thing you could do, for example, is buy my book, When I Start My Business, I'll Be Happy, because in it, not only do I teach you all of my email list building strategies that have led to me growing an email list of over 46,000 subscribers. And guys, I talk about legal stuff. Like, can we all remember that? I'm a lawyer who helps online business owners. So if I can do it, imagine what you can do. But not only is my book going to help you do that, but if you purchase my book before April 18th, so you still got a couple of weeks, you get immediate access to a free email list builder course that I've created called the Ultimate Email List Growth Toolkit. So you can just pre-order my book using the link in the description, or head to samvanderwielen.com/book. Head back to samvanderwielen.com/book, head to the bonuses section, fill out the info, and you'll get immediate access to that course. So that would be a great way to hit that 1K subscriber goal. Just saying. Okay, but in all seriousness, if your goal, for example, in quarter 2 was to grow your email list by however many subscribers, here are 3 concrete examples of exactly what you could do to grow your email list in quarter 2. Number 1, you would create an irresistible freebie. It's one of the things I teach you in that free email course you get when you buy my book. I talk about it a lot in my book, but an irresistible freebie is something that people cannot resist downloading. We want to make sure it's targeted to your ideal customer and that it's exactly what they want, not just something that you think that they should have. Number 2, you would then create a sequence that follows that freebie that nurtures the person who's entering your email list. Give them additional value, orient them to what it's like to be on your email list, who you are, what you do, how you help people, and what to expect next. Last but not least, you want to focus on creating and posting evergreen content, things like YouTube videos, podcast episodes that are optimized, SEO optimized blog posts that have a call to action to your freebie. So instead of creating lots and lots of what I call toilet content on social media that just disappears almost as quickly as you post it, we can still post there, but I want the primary focus of your content machine to be the big 3 content strategy, either this podcast, YouTube channel, or a SEO optimized blog post. All right, let's hop in and watch me go and plan my quarter 2 so you can see how this is done. Again, if you haven't gotten the planner yet, like, I don't know what you're waiting for really, but the link is down in the description, or I'm happy to send you the link myself if you comment planner down below. So next we go on to our quarterly plan. So now that we've reflected on last quarter, we're gonna go on to the quarterly plan, and we're gonna think a little bit about what we would like to add or experience more of in this upcoming quarter. I know that for me, some words that come up to me are celebration, because my first book comes out on April 15th. I want to like savor it. That's what's coming, like being present, right? When you can journal, you can feel free to write these down, do this elsewhere, brain dump, like expand on it later. It doesn't matter. I know that those are all things that come up for me. I've been also thinking about how I just want to have a little bit more fun with creating content that I want to share, that it feels fun. Like, I tend to only ever think of things in terms of like, is this helpful? Will you like this? Will this convert well? Where does this lead? And while that's really important for business, I think as a creator, it's really important for you to also do this. So those are like just some things that came up for me. My neck pain from being on my phone too much. So I'm definitely doing that one. Yeah, I would like to subtract less social media like after the book. So I'm going to say like, it's really only like the second half of the quarter where I can really do that, but less social media. I would also like to have less sitting time. So I want to be better about getting up like every hour and stuff like that. Okay, so 2 major goals I want to explore this quarter are to launch my book, and my steps to get there are kind of already done, but put it out there. So in terms of launching it, it's to appear on podcasts. I've been on tons and tons of podcasts that have all been coming out over the last couple weeks, and the week of book release on April 15th. I have my email marketing game down. I've got my social media content ready. I have collaborations. I've got PR stuff set up through the publisher. And then I also have the influencer boxes all going out. And then we have 2 parties planned here in New York to celebrate the launch of the book. So those are really kind of that's my little like launch plan for my business, as well as a like street team situation where you get other people, anybody who cares to share about the book. I'm sharing assets and things like that. So that is really my first goal. My second goal is to batch record a set of guest interviews. I have this idea of how I want to do these guest interviews, but we're gonna book the guests to record in May. We'll have like those all edited, and then we will plan and schedule content through the summer. So the idea is that if I batch these guest interviews, summer of 2025. So if I batch record these interviews now, then I will have enough. I have this like really specific idea for how I want to do the interviews. So this is essentially how I would get there. So I hope that it was helpful to see me filling this out. Now let's get back to the video. All right, well, I hope you found that so helpful. Like I said, make sure you grab your planner before you go. Link is in the description. I'm so glad you joined me here. And if you want to get that free email course to add 1,000 email list subscribers to your email list in the next quarter, make sure you go and order my book using the link in the description, or head to samvanderwielen.com/book. Head back to that same page, go to the bonuses section right here. Fill that in real quick and you'll get immediate access to my free email list builder course, the ultimate email list growth toolkit. I can't wait to help you build your email list in this quarter and beyond. See you next week.